Now, one of the big changes that I think's incredibly positive is the idea that the ITIL used to, and has been shot down in recent years as, oh, it's very, very process-based, and we've moved into, we always talked about practices even in 3, but it wasn't, I guess, as to the fore, that we've moved into the idea of practices now. I think something like incident management always was a practice. It was a process, it was procedures, it was technology, it was data, it was culture. So, you know, for certain. And I'm particularly impressed with the fact that what we've done is brought in practices from what I would call outside of regular IT service management. So business analysis and enterprise architecture, risk management. Now, what was the thought there? Because I guess what we're not going to try and do is sort of recreate MOR or TOGAF or anything else like that. So surely we're not looking at reinventing MOR and TOGAF.
No, absolutely not. I think the intention is to recognize the good work that's been done in this space and to help our community understand how constructs like TOGAF, or to be put it another way, how practices like architecture management or risk management impact the way service management has to operate or function. One of the things that that complexity science talks about is how sometimes managing interfaces between two agents or two players in a complex environment can be as important, if not equally more important, than managing those individuals themselves or groups themselves. So it might be that managing the interface between network management and technical architecture could become more important than actually the management of network management or technical architecture. So we're not trying to replicate TOGAF or MOR or BRMI or any of these other frameworks. What we're trying to say instead is there's some really good things here. They are part of the fabric of service management, or they're part of the fabric of the service provider organization. We need to understand what they do and how that impacts service management and how we can build good interfaces between these various practices.
I think it's been a focus of what certainly I've been talking about in global knowledge probably for the last 5 years, that in IT in the past, we had our silos that were tech support and service desk and desktop and dev and ops and so on. And we've started to overcome that now with DevOps, with Agile, and certainly what ITIL's done in its progression through 2, through 3, through 2011, and now through 4. I've always said that the much more dangerous silos from an organizational perspective is where you get a program office, a project office, risk management people, quality people, operational people, development. That really can be very, very serious if you don't manage those interfaces. The IT ones are bad enough. You don't manage them, then you quite literally you're stuffed.
That's absolutely correct. And one of the things that we talk about in ITIL 4 is the service value chain, which we've taken great pains to, and hopefully this message sinks in, that the service value chain is an operating model. It's not meant to be an organizational model. We certainly don't want to see the community moving towards having an engage functional unit versus a planned functional unit versus a design and transitional functional unit. The service value chain is a set of loosely coupled activities. So it's more akin to an operating model than it's certainly not an organizational model. And so what we're saying is that in order to convert demand to value, a service organization, whether that's a single individual, a team delivering services internally, or the legal entity delivering services to external customers, a service organization needs to be able to execute 6 basic types of activities. Engaging with external stakeholders, planning the work, obtaining or building service components, designing or transitioning those service components, delivering and supporting live services or products, and improvement across the board. So we think these are 6 archetypal activities that any service provider organization needs to undertake. And so what learners and readers of the foundation book will see is that each one of the practices that we've described interacts with those activities or contributes to those activities in a particular way. So architecture management would certainly contribute to design and transition, but it would equally contribute to obtain build. It may contribute to improve. It's not meant to be stuck in a box to say architecture management belongs here. Incident management, funnily enough, in ITIL v3, although it was described in service operations, never limited its scope to service operations. The guidance actually talks about how incident management contributes to service design, how it might contribute to service transition, how it might contribute to strategy, and so on. But because it was so closely associated with service operations, a lot of practitioners see incident management purely as an operational activity.